Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the postgame show. My God, I feel like we've gone live. This feels like the 10th live I've done this week, but man, we're putting in the hours. We're clocking in, or have done so since before. It's just all week. I never clocked out. What are we talking about? Hey, as you guys are hopping in here, make sure you like, share, hit the subscribe button, all the wonderful, fun stuff. Make sure you hit the notification bell. We're on our way to 7,000 total subscribers. Man, again, we're crawling to 2 million total views. We're getting there. 70,000 total views in just the last, I think it's 28 days. I'm closing in on that. So, man, you guys are awesome. You're helping keeping this thing going. Robertson 85 says we need a Corliss. Boy, we got a lot to talk about with the bigs, don't we? We've got a problem. We got a problem. We got to address. Yeah, Boozer's good, man. There's a reason why this guy is a high lottery pick. He's not just a lottery pick. He could be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft. And it's like he didn't even have to try tonight. Didn't even have to try. No, I mean, he put in the effort, but he didn't really have to. I will say this was an absolute ball game, dude. I mean, I realized that the scoreboard is them by 9. In reality, this felt like a them by maybe 4. Maybe 6. That's what this really was. On a neutral floor against odds-on favorite Final Four, possibly a team that could play for the national title. Early in the year, and I realize Duke's still trying to figure some things out with their bench and their rotation. I mean, outside of Cameron Boozer, now we can't take anything away from Caleb Foster. He looked good. I mean, they've got great parts. They are still Duke. Incredible, incoming high school class, all that stuff. Of course, when you talk about the Boozers, but all that being said, like Arkansas just would not go away. They led half of the first half. They led in the second half. They were trailing by, I think it was as many as 13 points, and were able to in 2 different occasions, and once in the first half and once in the second half, they had a 7-point lead. They just could not build off that lead if not for silly fouls, some of the shot selection, turnovers, things like that. And you do have to give a lot of credit to Duke for that. And they took over in rebounding in the second half, as I knew they probably would. They're not an elite rebounding team, but they're pretty good. And Arkansas is just not. And this is one of the issues that just continue to plague this Razorback team. The lack of physicality, I would argue we saw some tonight, but it's still like Duke had their way. They had their way in the paint. It just was, I don't know how many points because I can't pull up the stat broadcast because they're on a neutral floor. They're in Chicago, and so for whatever reason, you just don't get access to that. It's just not available to anybody. I don't know what their in the paint points were, but it felt like I bet 65, 70 of their 80 points. It just felt like we're all, around the rim or just Boozer score. And yeah, don't get it twisted. They did, they knocked down 8 threes too. So, but everything else was like right at the rim for Duke. And it just was too easy. That is going to plague the Razorbacks. But again, you can't this is Duke. They're going to do that to everybody. Boozer's going to do that to everybody. He's good. I don't know if he's 35 points a game with 9 boards and a couple steals and 3 assists good as a freshman, but he is good. So it's kind of like the equivalent of playing Razorback football on defense, right? Right now, that is what I look at, the inside, the interior part of this Arkansas defense. It's like, you're going to be able to throw the ball in the Razorback secondary, or you're going to be able to you're going to do something good. You're going to make a very average-looking Texas quarterback, and I'm not saying Cameron Boozer's average. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that defense made him look like an All-American. He looked like that first-round pick everybody was saying that he was. And that's the problem Arkansas has right now. They don't have a nasty – 6'10", 6'11", just muscled up, angry bruiser in the paint who can also play defense smart. Okay, don't just want to be tough and throwing elbows like Duke was tonight, but that's what they're missing. And that was just, it's already so obvious before they played tonight, and then it's like it was like we know what we were in for. We knew what we were in for. Yeesh. Let's get some. Make sure you share the content. My God. Let's share the content. Sharing is caring. Yeah, 9:30 Thanksgiving. You know, we're on the. It's. I'm sure we're all. Well, we didn't have our Thanksgiving today. We're gonna have ours on Saturday, but I'm sure everyone's probably, still enjoying. They're probably eating leftovers right now. Actually, is what's going on. They're eating their leftover Thanksgiving for dinner. Listen, I'm guilty of doing that. Make sure you guys retweet the Twitter, the Tusk Talk with Ty Twitter. I'd really appreciate it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they do to remedy this. Pringle at times can be that guy. Brazil at times can be that guy. At times they can get a little. They could step up and make plays on either end of the floor. Mostly Brazil. We saw that tonight, but there's just this severe lack of physicality from this Arkansas interior, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Like tonight ought to be one of there's two different ways you're gonna look at tonight. My God, Brazil is capable of doing some big things, even against like bigs like like Boozer. He could do things even around the perimeter, and he shot outside too. He started off 2 for 2 outside, but he could do things inside. He is capable of doing that on anybody. It's just like when Duke made changes, it was to slowly kind of get him out of his rhythm. And, they obviously were like, their goal was, okay, we can't let that guy get going. They crowded the rim even more so. And throughout this game, Arkansas could not get to the post. They struggled, they couldn't do anything cleanup wise around the rim. Layups were never clean. Everything was contested. Duke's, their transition defense is what I think like really slowed Arkansas down. We know Arkansas likes to do things fast pace. Like that's when they get you in a tizzy, when they get your head, they're forcing you to play on a swivel, and they're in transition. You better get back and you better get in your position. You better play that space well, and you better crowd the lane. Duke did that tonight. Duke did not let Arkansas. I don't know what their fast break points were tonight. I'd be curious to look at that. It was almost like oil and water. And I thought as this game was going, when Duke was up 13 points, I thought, oh my God, this is going to get ugly. Like this could get ugly. Like they're kind of, this is oil and water, man. This is not a good mix for Arkansas. They're big, they're physical like Michigan State. But then the problem is they have someone like Boozer who could absolutely take over on both ends of the floor. He's also untouchable, by the way. You couldn't touch the guy without getting called for a foul, while he could do whatever he wanted. Duke was throwing elbows. Cal was upset about it. Let's not sit here and pretend like, this wasn't crazy. Arkansas had got hit with 18 fouls. Duke with 13. It did feel like they were kind of getting away with some stuff. There was also a obvious travel that resulted in a Duke 2-point score that shouldn't have happened. Should have been wiped. Should have been a travel, but they gave it to him. But that is what it is, right? Like they're going to get those calls. I think that's just kind of how this works. Even on a neutral floor, Duke's going to get the benefit of the doubt a little bit more than you are. But Arkansas did shoot. They got better. They ended up shooting 41%. Overall, they were 33% outside, 10 of 30. I'm not I'm definitely not thrilled with the 33%. I'm happy they made 10 threes. And guess what? They did what they've done all year. They were 9 of 11 at the free throw line. They are a good free throw shooting team. That's going to be a problem for Duke. 67%. Obviously they're probably better at home at the charity stripe, but 67%, 14 of 21. They were 8 of 23 outside, and yeah, they shot almost 50% because everything was easy around the rim. And there were some wide open threes early in this game that allowed Duke to hang around when Arkansas was trying to build on that 7-point lead. Again, this was not – you didn't lose this. If you're going to blame the Zebras, if you're going to blame the fouls, that's just not the way to look at it. Boozer's probably should have gone into the half with at least a foul. I kind of thought that about a couple of their guys. They did have 2 players going to half with a couple of fouls, so it wasn't as lopsided as it felt in terms of how they were blowing the whistle. It wasn't really atrocious. Like, we've definitely seen worse. I'm actually kind of happy there were a couple of times when Arkansas obviously should have been called for a foul. I know that's something we tend to ignore, but you shouldn't. Like, yeah, it went both ways. But again, I would argue Duke was probably allowed to get away with a little bit more. They were throwing bows, bro. I mean, that first half, Cal was not thrilled about that at all. Offensive rebounds, again, you're double digits. You're 10 to their 12. But again, they just too many possessions with multiple offensive rebounding opportunities for Duke. Too many possessions. It felt like, I'm not going to say half their offensive possession, but just too many, man. Too many. Like, the ball either bouncing right to them, it's just bad luck. It's Michigan State all over again. I mean, they had at least 2 offensive possessions where they had 2 to 3 offensive boards. That's how they ended up with 12 in this game. It was crazy. Arkansas felt like they had to fight for all of their second chance point, or for all their offensive rebounding. Very close to being a game. Again, this did not feel, even though Duke got out to a 13-point lead, that didn't last long. And then Arkansas got out to 2 separate times. They got out to a 7-point lead. This really could have gone. Again, I don't care about this. Really felt like it could have gone in Arkansas's favor had they just been able to slightly contain Cameron Boozer. You're not going to stop him. But my God, dude, 13 of 18, 35 points. I mean, dude, he's going to be player of the week. And in Arkansas, this ranked opponent, a team like Arkansas, and we realize we here in North Razorback fans know they've got a problem with being a little soft on the inside. But my God, he's going to be National Player of the Week as a freshman because of these numbers, because of how, and again, he's great, but how bad you are inside defending. Just too easy to get to the rim, too easy to finish on Arkansas. Just not thrilled with that. That's still not changed. That's a concern. But everything else is like, I mean, this is the poll. Does Arkansas get a win versus a ranked non-con opponent? And they've got them left. They've got ranked non-cons left. And yeah, I think they will. I'm a little bit surprised. I'll say this. I don't think the matchup predictor has Arkansas favored in a single game. I was looking at that the other night. And again, you've got to take the matchup predictor with a massive grain of salt. But like, you're not favored against Louisville. Louisville right now is predicted, or is a matchup predictor has them favored at almost 75%. That is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry, like 75%. I mean, you talk about disrespect. My God, 75%. Inside Bud Walton Arena? Really? No. So that'll be an interesting one. They are favored against Fresno State. If it would load for me. Last I looked, they were heavily favored. Yeah, 91%, as it should be. And they're pretty solid. By the way, I wouldn't overlook Fresno State. And then Texas Tech, who's not off to the start everyone thought they'd be off to. That one's actually shrunk a little. Last I looked at this just like a week ago, Texas Tech was at it was crazy. It was like 75%. It's now down to 56% in favor of Texas Tech. And that is played in Dallas, by the way. So, yeah, I mean, right now as it stands, the matchup predictor, I don't think it's going to be right. I think Arkansas is going to beat, and then, of course, you got Houston, who's, they're overwhelmingly favored as well, 80% on the matchup predictor. You're playing that one in the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. So, I do think they're going to get a win somewhere. How many, I don't know. I did not anticipate Ewan and Pringle to be just, Pringle, he's silly on defense. He's silly. So even the light contact stuff, it's like he still does just too much contact. He just does not play the smartest defense around the rim. He's a 4-5 piece. He's a 4-5 utility defender around the post. He is, but he can't do it smart. He gets in foul trouble, and it's like some of those you want to be like, all right, well, that might have been a little soft. I think some of it, too, might be a little bit, just how aggressive he is, which you do want. But there's such a thing as being aggressive and then being physical. It's like he can't pick which one he is. And it's the same thing with Brazil's just not physical, and Ewan has not been physical. Ewan had a couple of good moments tonight, but overall he's not living up to it. So I would be on the side that, yeah, they're going to beat someone. But it's going to be simply guard. If it's going to be guard focused all year, if that's the way this offense is, and that's the way we're going to, like, you're going to get guards involved in the rebound game because you can't rely on your bigs to be in the right place, boxing out, doing what they need to do to get after a loose ball and actually win a loose ball battle. Like, I don't know, y'all. I mean, I am 50-50 on what to expect from this team. However, they went to East Lansing. We've talked about this. Could have won that damn game. Could have beat Michigan State at Michigan State. On a neutral floor, you went toe-to-toe with a team that's favored to be in the Final Four, possibly a national champion. Okay, you got Louisville coming up next, and we'll see what they do then. They don't play again, guys. We don't see them again until the 3rd. Someone had mentioned that might be why Arkansas kind of, probably could have won this game had they not been on the break they were on. They hadn't played since Friday. So almost a week without playing ball. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I mean, basketball's a weird sport in terms of rest and how long you need it, right? Football, it's like you need a bye week. You're glad you get 2 bye weeks, right? In basketball, it's like, yeah, you don't want to play back-to-back the way Jackson State did. Jackson State, when they came to Fayetteville, you don't want to do that, but you also don't want to take off a whole week. How much of that played into it? I don't know. I will agree that it is tricky to be on that long of a break. Maybe it had something to do with it, but again, they played toe to toe with Duke, man. I'm not upset about tonight at all. I know some people are. Right now, the overall mood for Razorback fans is, we needed a win. Arkansas fans felt like they needed a win. With all this stuff with the coaching search, with the way the football season's gone, the fact that Arkansas basketball's not unbeaten, damn it. They ought to be unbeaten, right? They needed this win tonight. Not the basketball team necessarily, but just fans in general. And unfortunately, they just came up short. But I feel like this is a game, if you played best out of 5, I think Arkansas would win a couple of them. I really do. And I think tonight was just the example of the other 3 that Duke would probably win. Yeah, I think Duke is they're a more well-equipped team. However, if someone can contain Boozer, and don't get me wrong, Foster's a hell of a player. I mean, they've got I don't know about how good their bench really is yet. I don't know if they've really been tested this year, but like, I do think if someone contains Boozer, can slow him down, keep him in a I don't know, like keep him at 15, 16 points. Isn't that weird to say, right? That'd be a really good defensive night to keep him contained like that. You got a shot at beating Duke if you've got some talent on the floor, and they're going to play some talent. But Duke is a really everything flows. And I mentioned this on the last live show, the Wednesday night, last night. I mentioned this. Everything flows through Boozer. Everything. So, again, if there's a night where someone can contain him, they might have a fight on their hands. They're obviously not going to go unbeaten. But Boozer was the answer to everything for these guys with a mix of Foster, who was 2 of 3 outside. I mean, their starters, their starters made all their threes. Nicholas, I can't pronounce that kid's name, number 14. He was 0 for 2 outside. So their bench only took two shots outside, but their starters did a pretty decent job. So that would put them at 8 of 21 overall from your starters. But yeah, 49%, man. When you have shots that easy to the damn rim, and I'm telling you, you look at Florida right now, who plays a physical brand of ball. I think they're the best rebounding team in the country. You look at your lineup in the SEC. Brother, I think I had Arkansas at 14-4 on the year in conference play. We're going to reevaluate. We said we would at the beginning of the year when we did our predictions. And I understood the hesitancy. I can't say that word. It doesn't roll off the tongue well. I understand that because it's so early in the year and you don't know with all the new pieces and the fact that you're going to have freshmen like Acuff and Thomas. But I'll say this. We're going to have to reevaluate. Would I come down off my 14-4 right now? Yes, I would. I'll just flat out say, yeah. I now I'm again, it's because of how soft and how just unreliable. Outside of Brazil's start tonight was incredible. Brazil was incredible. He kept them. In fact, you got that 7-point lead because of Brazil's effort in the first half. I mean, he was great, and then he vanished, right? He did a good job. I mean, he had 11 boards. My God, he had a double-double. I mean, he looked great tonight. It's hard to fault him. He had 3 offensive rebounds. He had all 3 of those in the first half. You know, he had what, 7 boards going into the halftime, and he ended up with 11. Again, 11 points. He had a double-double. It's hard to fault too much on him, but just in terms of the physicality of the game, there's no one we can really rely on. Again, they don't have a true 5-piece. They don't have a true center. And I don't know. Maybe they get Pringle to figure it out. Maybe Ewan figures it out. Maybe you figure out the combination, or do you want to play small? Then you want to go more fast paced because you can't rely on your big, so you're just going to try and out finesse everybody. Like what is going to be the answer and how you adjust to that? If anybody could figure that out, it's going to be Cal. But it's like you still are going to have to overcome this. And I'm going to be real with you. I had Arkansas second in the SEC. Again, would I come down off that? Yeah, I think I would, only because, again, I'm going to make this clear. Overall, this is a really damn good roster. This is a really damn good team. But it's going to be easy to exploit them around the post. It already has been easy to exploit them around the post. I don't know how many Michigans or Michigan States and Dukes you're going to play in the SEC. But there are teams that have some absolute beast athletes at the 4 and the 5 spot moving forward in SEC play, and you're going to have to figure out how to scheme around it. You can't play to it; you can only scheme around it, and that's a problem. And I don't know where we're going to have to figure this out right now. Again, I think they're going to beat one of these ranked non-cons. I'm not telling you to panic. I still think this is a tournament team. If you want to say Sweet 16, I wouldn't argue with you. Elite 8, I might argue with you a little. I'm somewhere in that neighborhood, though, and it's all about how Cal adjusts this moving forward and scheming around some of their deficiencies. You know, last year's team had deficiencies. They started off 0-5. We saw it. There were some issues at the point guard play, and Wagner steps in. Right? Yeah, Acuff, sorry. Boogie, there's some, we figured it out, even though it was kind of out of the hands of Cal's because of an injury, but they were able to figure it out. You had players step up that weren't stepping up earlier in the year, guys like Brazil. They figured it out, and I think they can do that this year. But right now, it's about what caliber of team are you. I think they're going to compete with everybody. I don't know, and again, knock on wood, everybody collectively knock on wood. I don't know that I see Arkansas getting blown out by anybody. Like they look like they're going to go toe-to-toe with everyone because of the explosiveness of an Acuff, because of some of the play we've seen out of Brazil, even if it's been a little up and down. You could talk about there's been times when Pringle has manned up and played pretty good defensive ball and getting some boards and doing what he needs to do. Obviously Thomas, Richmond, although tonight I was a little, talk about a double-edged sword there a little bit. He had the Taylor Green thing going on. What did he have in the first half? 3 turnovers? Man, you can't be doing that. I thought Billy Richmond was just kind of crazy. Again, will Arkansas beat a ranked non-con opponent? Right now, 78% of you say yeah, and I agree with you. I think they are. This game will help us develop. It's still early, my man. No, right, yeah. Like I said, they're going to have to figure out how to work around, scheme around some of their weaknesses. Of course, it's early, man. Come on, this isn't my first rodeo. We'll get better as the year goes on. We got better tonight. I think they got better. Like the thing that really, really impressed me was Brazil's play early on in this game. I mean, Brazil coming out of nowhere with that cleanup dunk was just what a highlight moment. That was great. I just wish we could have seen more of that. 82% at the line. They continue to show us they might be one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country. That can carry you, man. Now, you got to get to the line a little bit more. You got to have more than just 11 attempts. You got to do better at getting to the line. That's a part of the game I want to see them get better at, man. We could sit here and talk about the physicality. Listen, there are plenty of finesse teams that are not super physical inside that can go on runs in the tournament. All right, just because I'm telling you that does not mean that I'm saying they're not going to go on a run. Anything can happen between now and March or the end of February. But if you clean up, again, maybe they're just not getting. Maybe that's just not their identity. We know they're guard heavy, anyways. But if you could continue to shoot, north of 75, 76%, maybe a little better. I mean, again, you got some things you got to figure out, right? They had 17 assists tonight. 17 assists to 12. You were +5 in the assist to turnover ratio. I'm not in love with the 12 turnovers. You guys know you need to be 10 or lower. 9 is preferable. But 17 assists. When you clean up a lot of that. You had 8 steals, 3 blocks against a really long team, by the way. Ewan had a couple of not Ewan, I'm sorry, Billy Richmond. Billy Richmond, who's got, I swear to God, that kid's vertical. It's got to be, I'd really love to know his official vertical. But he had 2 blocks tonight and a steal. Those 5 turnovers absolutely kill you. But there's things they got to get cleaned up. And Richmond's a year 2 guy. We're not talking about a freshman here. So Richmond, I think, can turn those up. He had a couple assists, and again, a couple of offensive boards, and he had 11 points. He just gets a little fast and loose, right? He gets a little crazy. These are things that are so fixable. I don't know if the physicality part is or not. I think it is. I think they can. Pringle and Ewan, I think they can get there. Consistency matters. I'd like to see that night in and night out. I don't know how fixable that is, but everything else about this team that we're a little bit concerned on, if you want to say, well, that might be a red flag there, it's all fixable. Outside, again, the physicality. And they just ran an 8-man rotation. Duke went with a 9. Arkansas went with an 8. Everyone got legitimate minutes outside of DJ Wagner. Wagner was a little rough tonight. 0 for 3 outside, 1 of 5 overall shooting. Just he did have 3 assists, but he had a tough night. It just was not. It wasn't great. I really wish they could. First off, I wish the cleanup around the rim was cleaner. Damn, I wish their layups were cleaner. It feels like every time, unless it's a fast break moment, when they think they've got a lane to cut through, everything is just so well contested. And I don't know if that's just a guys in the wrong position. Again, it could speak to the physicality part of it. From your bigs needing to kind of box out, clear lanes. Everything is contested when they try to go for a clean layup when they cut to the lane. Got to get better. Again, who would have thought, first off, that Brazil would start 2 for 2 outside, and not only was he crashing boards and fighting for rebounds, but he was also he was your leading scorer until Acuff went off. Who would have thought that, right? And that's against a quality opponent. That was one of the things that people used to criticize him. Well, yeah, do it against a good opponent. Well, he did it tonight. So I'm not telling you to panic. Again, I still think this is a great roster. They play damn good against a really good opponent. I'm telling you, I don't. If you're panicking over this, then you're way too reactionary, way too emotional for the game of basketball. Just take a step back, all right? You've got a lot of games, and like I told you, they're going to beat someone. They're going to beat one or two of these non-conference. Maybe, hell, I don't know. Maybe they win the rest of them. The way they played against tonight and against Michigan State ought to give you a lot of hope. I'll say it one final time. Imagine if Ewan and Pringle could play. If Pringle played smarter and could play physical, Ewan could do something on both ends of the floor. It could at least be a piece of what they do on both ends of the floor consistently. Ratchet up the physicality a little bit. They're already going to be hard to beat without that. With the physicality aspect of this game, Arkansas, then maybe we do go back to my original 14-4 prediction. Got to prove it, though. Got to do it, right? But again, Arkansas against Michigan State, at Michigan State, and Duke on a neutral floor, they have looked the part. They have looked the part. Listen, every SEC team is talking about what their biggest sore spot is. And right now, this is what I like about Arkansas. I haven't done enough homework on the rest of the SEC, so I couldn't tell you everyone else. Your only issue is really physicality. That's it. I shouldn't say that's it. Obviously, there's little things we need to look at. Some of the turnovers and the I don't know. We could kind of go on the bench. before you bitch about the bench, I mean, 11 points or 24 points between Richmond and Malik Thomas, 7 points from Ewan. 7 points, even though he wasn't great defensively, 7 points from Ewan tonight. All right, he was at least something. He did something, although he had 20 minutes. But I was a little surprised I gave Ewan that much. I wasn't shocked we didn't see Sealy. I wasn't shocked. I kind of thought for a minute we might see Sealy get like just a couple of minutes. We didn't see Sealy tonight that I saw, and ESPN's not reporting that he got any minutes. But that's the other thing too. Like you still have some guys that could get some quality minutes that didn't really get those tonight. So, and Sealy being one of them. I think Sealy can help you in conference play. I really do. July with a $5 super chat. These non-con games are so good I couldn't agree more, are so good for us down the road. No sweat with this loss. 100% agree. 100% agree. Did I miss any? Nope, that was it. Okay. But again, going back to my point, like every SEC team, I guarantee you, everybody, maybe outside, like Missouri's 7-0. Okay, like have you seen their schedule? Have you seen Missouri? Have you seen who they've played? Not a single ranked opponent. Hell, have they even played a P4 opponent yet? Maybe one. I think they played a Big Ten opponent that wasn't worth a damn. Vanderbilt hasn't really played a great opponent yet. LSU, who's I think 5 or 6-0, they haven't beaten it. They haven't played anybody. Tennessee's 7-1, and I guarantee you they're probably talking about. I'm sure they've got some issues. There's something that they're worried about, right? Ours is something that's like I feel like you could work around. Tennessee did lose to KU, didn't they? And KU's kind of been so-so, right? Georgia got off to that hot start. They've lost. Auburn 6-2. Like nobody in the SEC right now. It feels like kind of a wide open, and it will, right? And Arkansas might be on the bottom end of that when we get into conference play, simply because of who they scheduled. Nobody in the history of college basketball has scheduled what Arkansas has scheduled by everyone, scheduling every single team that was in the Elite Eight. Isn't that crazy? That is just bananas, man. That's bonkers. Holy shit. And right now, like, I don't know. We're gonna have to. We'll pull up the. We'll talk about this next week. Well, we got a lot to get through before we get back to basketball, huh? Holy crap, man. We've got a head coaching search. We got to figure out what's going on between KJ Jackson and Taylor Green. Can the next head coach convince KJ Jackson to stick it out? Just, whoever that next head coach is it Golish? Oh my God. Like we got so much to get through before Arkansas even plays their next damn basketball game. I mean, think about it like this. You play Louisville on the 3rd. December 3rd. When the hell is that? Is that what day of the week is that? Yeah, that's a Wednesday. We should know who our head football coach is by the next time we see Arkansas play. Isn't that wild? And that'll only be their 8th game. It feels like they've played more. But that'll be their 8th game of the season. Louisville, who's got to play. We are their next opponent. That's right. For some reason, I thought they played someone before then, but no. Yeah, they are undefeated. Louisville's undefeated. They did beat Kentucky. Pulled that up. Who else? I thought there was one other good opponent they beat. They did play Jackson State, and they beat the hell out of them too, 106-70. They beat Cincinnati, and I think Cincinnati is actually pretty decent. So, yeah, we're going to learn a lot about both these teams again, right? But this game tells you where Arkansas's at right now. You know what it told you? It told you that despite one pretty big flaw right now, they can go toe-to-toe with someone of Duke's stature on a neutral damn floor. What it told you tonight is there is no reason to panic about Arkansas basketball yet. For the people the reactionary types, right? The overly reactionary people, even you right now should be like, oh, okay, all right, no, okay. We didn't get slaughtered. We probably, we held a 7-point lead on 2 different occasions in the first and then the second half. Yeah, okay. There's nothing to really panic about yet. Now, that could all fall to the wayside if Louisville beats the hell out of you, but I don't. I mean, I haven't watched Louisville play a whole lot. I don't know much. I know they have a kid on their roster scoring like 18, 20 points a game or something. Conwell, really good player for them. So, yeah. Again, if you're just hopping in here, make sure you like, share. Sharing is caring, and make sure you hit the subscribe button. Sorry, Ty. The hangover from football is immense, says Brett Robinson 2901. It is. You're not wrong. It is. Florida kind of got screwed against TCU today. I'm not going to lie to you. I took the day to play the hell out of a game I've gone on and on and on about for the last several weeks. I didn't watch much basketball, and that's rare for me. Like, I'm usually like I've got basketball on that, and I've switched over. I don't have YouTube TV anymore. I switched over to the ESPN package. So there are some good games I feel like I'm probably going to miss out on, which kind of pisses me off. I did pay for Paramount Plus tonight. They're running this $2.99 special, and I was like, to hell with it. I'll just do it for now. I might cancel it though. Arkansas's got one more game on CBS, I think. Yeah, July knows what's up. Hogs says Boozer's a freaking beast. I don't want to glaze him too much here, but holy shit, that dude's good. Like, there's his footwork, everything that dude does, his power right to the rim. I mean, he's ready for the NBA. I don't know that I see someone like Cameron Boozer just, he's ready. Depending on where he goes, oh my God. He looks the part, man. I mean, I don't know that you play someone like that again the rest of the year. You won't. I don't think you will. I mean, I realize there's some great roster pieces coming up. Holy shit, Cameron Boozer's good, dude. You just can't deny it. Sometimes you got to just tip your cap. I mean, that guy was a one-man wrecking ball tonight. If you take away a handful of his scoring, you probably do win this game. If you had anybody who could step in his damn way. I think I saw maybe 2 good defensive possessions against him all night. And you think about how often he was around, how much time he spent underneath the free throw line. I mean, and he could come out of nowhere too. I mean, he's the complete package for them. So they better hope they don't run into a Big Ten team that's got a couple of guys that can scheme to him and outmaneuver him. And I don't know that you can completely stop him, but again, contain him. Duke might have, again, like, they're good. The rest of their roster, I'll tell you what makes them good outside of just like Evans is a capable player. Foster's really good for them. But it's the length, it's the size, and just pure athleticism. I mean, it really is just a great roster. And they've built that around Boozer, and it's just that's just who they are. But teams like that, though, do tend to, once they get to the final or get to the Elite Eight, Sweet 16, they can struggle because these other teams are good enough, they're well coached enough, they're physical and they're tough, and they can deal with a guy like Boozer where maybe you don't let him go off for 30 or more points, and then you force Duke to have to adjust. But they can adjust because they've got a couple of guys that can stretch the floor and create some chaos. They've got some pieces, man. So, and they've got another big that's really good for them too. 49% from the field. I mean, that's how you beat teams, right? I mean, just shoot that, right? Just do that, and you're probably in a pretty good position, despite shooting sub 68% at the free throw line. And yeah, 37 boards when you out rebound your opponent like that, 37-29. I mean, I called it. I said at the half, they're going to probably take over. But I felt like in the first half, Arkansas did a pretty good job of crashing the boards. I think they were out rebounded in the first half by like 4. And Duke was able to clean that up on their end. Boozer elbows a little bit much. Well, it wasn't just him. You're not wrong about that. I mean, it wasn't just him. That's what Cal was complaining about. And he was right. And I had a text from someone who's I really respect his basketball IQ. And he was like, I really feel like if Duke was held to a different standard there in terms of what they were doing elbows-wise, Arkansas might have been an even tougher game at the end because those elbows, they got away with quite a bit of it in the first half. But you did see him. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'd have to go back and rewatch. It felt like we didn't see it as often in the second half. They were. I found it funny that Boozer He finally did get a couple of fouls, but they were in both of them. It was obvious. Like, yeah, he probably should have had 3 or 4 fouls, but they're not going to do that. It was again great effort by Arkansas. I'm not hating at all. 21 was ridiculous with him. Oh man. I talked about it in the halftime live on Discord, like, dude, this is kind of, what are we doing here? Why are we not getting? I mean, that's how fights break out, really. I mean, imagine if we had Boozer instead of you, and well, boy, I'm telling you, if only they had just a key centerpiece, man. I mean, that's good Lord. Duke always gets that one and down. That's obviously, that's absolutely unstoppable. The one and done. I see what you're saying. That one and done. Yeah. Bro, every time they did step in his damn way, they were called a foul. That's true. I mean, that's fair, but you also have to realize the way you play someone like Cameron Boozer, there's no other way to defend him than to foul him. Like, he doesn't look the part up top yet, but he's physical. He has power, and he's got the length and the athleticism to stretch to the rim. And it's like, how do you defend someone like that with the good footwork, the arm stretchability with the finger roll in there at the rim? How else do you play him? Like, you're gonna foul him and hope that you don't get called for him. And that's just the truth of the matter. I mean, he's just that solid. All right. I mean, that's just all there is to say about it. How else do you play him? I do agree. You could not touch him. And I thought some of the light contact stuff was really silly. But there were a couple times they let him play through contact and not call foul. So it was kind of both ways, but I agree that it just, like, Arkansas was just not allowed to touch him. And there was a certain way you had to defend him. And unfortunately, I think the only way, really, like, you might just have to match him. Hell, I don't know. You might have to. I think they mentioned something about him getting scratched up or something. Like, it's going to be you're going to have to fight him like a back alley fight. That's how you deal with a guy like that. It's crazy to watch highlights of him, and I watched Duke play a little bit earlier this year, and I noticed, like, damn, he's good. He's got a lot of power to the rim. But then to actually watch a full game versus a team very well in Arkansas and see, and I get it, again, it's really easy to do what he did tonight against Arkansas, but to see it on display like that, you're like, okay, shit, that dude is legit. Like, yeah, he's a top 3 pick. I mean, I don't know, unless he just falls off, Let Pringle and Brazil throw elbows. Both would have fouled. Oh yeah, the way I agree with that. It just kind of felt like they were getting away with a little bit too much of that. I agree. This Razorback team will be there when it counts, says Brian Barton. You got to step up and win on Wednesday. Bring the noise in Fayetteville. Make Bud Walton great again. Oh, that's the other fact about that Louisville game is it's going to be a Wednesday night. We better not see as many open seats as we've seen. We better not see as many open seats. Can't happen. It cannot happen. You cannot have that place needs to be loud, proud, and in the ears of the Louisville Cardinals. Period. It cannot be like what we have seen. I'm trying to move this logo here. It cannot be what we've seen in Fayetteville lately. It's got to be better. They got to be loud, that student section, wherever the hell, whatever's going on there. This has got to be it, man. If you know someone that's going to the game, if you know a student, if you are one, I know I've got plenty of students that watch this game or watch this show. Show up, be loud, encourage the people around you to be loud, and just egg them on. I do not want to lose to Louisville. All that shit they were talking when Musselman was – when all the rumors – there was a rumor for about a solid 2 weeks he was going to go to Louisville, and just how down Louisville's looking at Arkansas. Like, are you kidding me? What are you talking about? Like, we're neck and neck as programs in terms of just caliber of programs. We're neck and neck. We're both like right outside the top 10 if you want to talk about prestigious college basketball teams. I get that most of the 2000s Arkansas basketball was mediocre at best. I get that, but that's changed at the time thanks to Musselman. And then you lure in a Coach Cal thanks to John Tyson and another donor. It's on, baby. And you better, God, I want to run them out of the court. I know that might be tough because Louisville's good. Again, that's 6:15 p.m. That's going to be on ESPN. Pretty sure that's the main. I think it's on ESPN, right? It's not on Plus or whatever, or ESPN, the Ocho. That game's on ESPN, baby. I want to run them off the floor. Like, I don't know what it is. There's something inside me about Louisville. After all that stuff with Musselman just drove me batshit. Just listen to their fans. We had a Louisville fan coming into the lives talking trash. I think he came in on like 1 or 2. It was like the same guy. Oh. Just thought they were going to take Musselman. Like, get the hell out of here, dude. If he's leaving for West Coast. We all know it. That's exactly what happened. Loud like Michigan State did us. I agree, He-Hog. You're right. It's a clever name, by the way, He-Hog. Again, if you guys are just joining, make sure you like and share. Sharing is caring. Helps your boy out. Shout out to Patreon. You guys, Patreon supporters are awesome. Appreciate every one of you. Make sure you if you're already a Patreon member, maybe bump it up a notch, huh? We got a problem with Patreon. I have the cards. We did a reveal in Discord. For whatever reason, Patreon, the mobile site, which is what I use the app a lot to upload like pictures and whatnot. It would not it just won't load. The post page won't load, so I'm having trouble. But I'll just show you guys really quick. If you're interested, if you're not a Patreon member, this is the $8 cards, right? This is if you're an $8. And again, donors, I get it. You guys are, or Patreon members, I should say. You guys are helping out the channel. You're helping support the channel. I appreciate that. But listen, there's little something extra, right? Here's one of them. That's a Moses Moody card, right? It's just it's a free card if you're a supporter of the channel. And the other one's Anthony Black. Look at that. Got the chrome. Yes, sir. The legendary status cards. This is what it's all about right here. We've got Corey Beck autographed. How about that? Corey Beck autographed. That's legendary status member, right? You get a shot. Felix Jones autographed. Look at that. It's even got his numbers on there. It's really cool. It's got stats. And last but not least, probably one of the coolest cards I've seen in a while, if I could hold on to it, Brandon Allen autograph. But check out it's like tech camo. I don't know what you call that. It's camo, but it's like tech camo, and it's real glossy. Isn't that cool? So those are the legendary stats cards for the month of November. Okay, there you go. Bing bang boom. Bing bang boom. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. All right, so that's what happens if you upgrade to legendary status or to $8 status. You get a shot at one of those cards. Okay. Appreciate the super chat tonight. Tonight I felt like when we missed those alleys in the first half, we deflated a little. Yeah, I agree with that. And we let them get a little run on us. However, we're okay. We will be a great team in the weeks to come. Yeah, again, that's like what someone mentioned earlier, and this is what we've talked about all offseason. These games are huge. You're facing adversity, not against shitty opponents, against the likes of Michigan State in East Lansing, Duke on a neutral floor, Louisville, which is going to be at Bud Walton, Texas Tech, which is going to be at the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. And then, of course, you still have to deal with Houston, which is going to be at the Prudential Center. So, like, this is how you do it. Now, you got to win some of these, right? You can't go winless and be like, yeah, we learned something. Well, eventually it's like, okay, even though we're not in conference play, what are we learning? What are we getting better at? That's the whole point of these. And then you take that product into conference play. And to be honest, I think there's still one glaring problem with this team. But outside of that, it feels like, again, everything else is fixable. and there is nothing to panic about yet. Now, I also don't want to overlook Fresno State. Fresno State's pretty decent. They're 6-2. Now they also, you can argue they haven't played anybody, but they're one of those mid majors. Like this is a Mountain West team that's pretty good. And the Mountain West, from time to time, has some pretty capable teams. San Diego State, UNLV, teams that have a little bit of history behind them. I wouldn't overlook Fresno State either. So like it doesn't feel like Arkansas has a free game. From here on out, maybe outside of like Queens, maybe James Madison. And I don't know a ton about James Madison. I know they're 5-3 right now, but whatever. So I don't know, outside of a couple of games before conference play, that you have any gimmies, that you have any for, like you feel like overwhelmingly you should win. Like you don't have a lot of those left. So, there's Woo Pig Justina. What's he saying? It's always doom and gloom early in the season for Arkansas basketball. Even the must days will be fine. Yeah, no, that's not wrong. Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, you got to figure it out. Again, the difference being this year you're playing a much higher caliber of an opponent for sure. Carter has been absent for a while. Outside of one game, nothing new. Just transplanted Texan. Yeah, and there's still, and that is something worth mentioning, that there's still a couple of guys that have not really stepped into their what we saw last year, into their groove, into what makes them, or what made them such a big part of this team a year ago. Knox has not, and I realize Knox had to miss some time, but Knox has not been that guy. DJ Wagner has not really been that guy, like what we saw last year with the turnaround, right? When Boogie was hurt and Wagner stepped into that point guard role, and really the identity of the team completely changed. And he himself was a problem on both ends of the floor, or at least gave his all and looked the part. And like there's still some pieces here that we're like, oh, well, now wait a minute. What's Sealy's role moving forward in these tough games? Are we not going to see him at all, or is he going to get some opportunities? I kind of thought he earned some minutes. I thought Sealy would get a few minutes, but he didn't. He didn't get, according to ESPN, and I don't think I saw him play tonight at all. Yeah, I don't think he took the floor. I thought maybe he'd get I thought he'd get like 2 or 3 minutes, just to see what he could do, see if he could come in there like a wrecking ball and absolutely throw Duke off their rhythm a little, because he's a firecracker coming off the bench, man. I'm excited about Sealy. Okay, all right, everyone's hopping out, so I'm going to end it too. I appreciate everyone for being here. Make sure you like, share, hit the subscribe button, all that fun stuff. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes. Better than the best, man. Give them a call if you're down in Little Rock or the Central Arkansas area. 501-244-3667. Again, that's 501-244-3667. Listen, free estimates, man. You want to replace that door, or you need something fixed, give them a call, all right? All right, that's it. I'll be back on our last game of the year for football, thank God. Arkansas, Missouri. We finally put an end to this disaster. It'd be nice to see Arkansas get a win. Missouri's not beat anybody worth a damn, so maybe Arkansas can give them some trouble at home in Fayetteville. I don't know, but right now I would lean Missouri. Arkansas never showed me that they could do it all year, and so I had to finally start picking against them the last several weeks. So here we are. Hopefully they can clean some of this up, and hopefully they can win. Hopefully they could beat Missouri. And then maybe there's some pieces with this new head coach you might want back for next year. KJ Jackson being one of them. Platt being one of them. I don't know about anybody on the defense. So, all right. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your evening, or the rest of your, 10 o'clock at night. Enjoy the rest of your night, and then your Friday, and we'll be back on Saturday. All right? We'll see you.